Hello, welcome to Trying Times, the show where we talk about life, the things that happen in it, and we include a select handful of some very cringy moments, from my past at least, because why not? It just makes life easier to laugh at, so why not include that? My name is Carmen, and I am a creator in my mid 20s who's just trying to navigate through life and thought making this podcast could help. That was my very, very quick elevator pitch. I like to throw those in at the beginning of every episode because it's just a fun little introduction. Today just feels a little more high energy. In other words, I had a matcha latte this morning and I was like, whoa, I don't feel anxious. I don't feel like jittery or weird. For those of you who know me, you know I don't drink coffee. But for those of you that don't know me, well, now you know I don't drink coffee. And I typically will have green tea in its place because I feel like it gives me a lot of energy and usually doesn't make me as anxious. Well, surprise, today I am quite the nervous wreck. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it was like the sugar in it or something. I'm just like so jittery. So we're just hitting the ground running at this point. Like, if I ramble today more than normal, then it's just, I mean, we know why. That's all. So, carrying on, I believe this was now officially my ninth elevator pitch, as this is the ninth episode. So, is it getting old? No, not really. I feel like it's good practice, and I just gotta get more creative with it. So, this will kind of force me to do that, and I guess maybe it'll get you to think about creative, like, elevator pitch for yourself as well. I don't know. It doesn't have to be just in, like, a professional setting. It could be anywhere at any time, so why not? Why not make yourself an elevator pitch? Anyways, that's enough. I hope you're well. It's been a week since we talked, and I don't know where you may be listening in from at this exact moment, but I'm recording this from Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. Hello, wherever you may be. And I'm recording this in March, and things are just now beginning to open up here again. So we can kind of start to live life a little normally, or kind of like normal, I guess, once again. And I don't even know what that feels like anymore, honestly. It's been so long, but I've kind of briefly talked about this on here that in the past year, I had also lived in Vancouver for a short amount of time. And the difference in living there during the height of the pandemic versus living in Ontario was like night and day. So many more businesses were open. There were so many more recreational spaces to go to. Like, I remember there were still some concerts happening, I think. Nail salons were open, tattoo parlors were open, hair cutting salons, like hair salons generally were open. Like, so many other places were open, whereas in Ontario, it was closed down for quite a while. So it was really interesting to see how the city was in some ways still flowing through time just seamlessly, and like nothing was really a bother or interrupted that service, I guess. In other ways, it was not. So in comparison to Ontario, like I just said, it was very different because we had a lot of things closed down and we were all just kind of left to our own devices, if you will. So for me, that was just sitting indoors and being like TikTok all the way. I started the pandemic being like, I'm never gonna get TikTok, and I'm hoping this is the end of it now. I don't know. Knock on wood. There. I'm ending the pandemic now, basically kind of like, well, I go on TikTok a little bit too much. So big changes here, guys, big changes. No, but it was really interesting to see how Vancouver was out and just kind of moving and flowing through things, and all of BC was compared to Ontario, even though it was just on the other side of Canada. So now, being back in Ontario and kind of at this cusp of things opening up again, I'm feeling two ways. I'm feeling a little torn with excitement, and then also very torn with anxiety, because like I said before on the show, I can be quite the anxious person at times. So these past 2 years of being inside has not entirely helped that. It's in fact made it pretty bad, for being fully honest here. And I know it hasn't helped a lot of people. So things like concerts and theaters and restaurants are all places that I love to go. Now that that's coming back, I feel a little nervous to be back in those settings, but I know once I just kind of do it and rip the band-aid off, I'll be fine. So there's that. And I feel like some of my friends can relate and they understand, some family can relate, they can understand. And at the same time, we all just feel so like ready to go out after so long and just be out there and doing our thing and in a social setting again. So I feel like once that band-aid's kind of just ripped off, it'll be a little normal again. It'll be like a slow progression to getting back into normalcy. So, going off of that, today I'm going to be talking about travel and vacation and all that fun stuff that I have not done in a minute. I don't think a lot of us have. I don't totally count my experience I mentioned prior to just 5 seconds ago of moving to Vancouver as a vacation necessarily, because that was for work. And so for me, I wasn't in any kind of a vacation mindset or like mode whatsoever. I was always on for work. So eliminating that time, I want to say the last time I actually went on vacation was to London in the beginning of 2020. I believe I was there for nearly 2 weeks and thankfully made it home safely right before everything had gone into lockdown, which that was a wild time. I think we made it home 1 or 2 days literally before they shut everything down, and I'm just so grateful that we made it home safely and we obviously were okay. Like everything just worked out, thankfully, right on time, so we were okay. So fast forward to now, beginning of March, nearly 2 years after I've been on vacation, one of my closest friends reaches out to me and is like, let's go away. I haven't been on vacation in years and I just want to be by a beach and in the sun, not surrounded by snow and gloom. And I said, okay, where to? And so she said, let's go to Florida. So we're going there for about a week, I think, at the end of this month. And it's just like, it's not fully hitting me, I don't think. I'm like tapping my own brain. It's not hitting me for some reason that I guess we're going like in a very short amount of time. We're currently in the very beginning and early planning stages of everything related to this trip, and so many parts of me are anxious because I've not been on vacation in so long, and then so many parts of you are just like, oh my god, like I can't wait. I haven't technically traveled also outside of Canada now in 2 years, and so that was a bit daunting to think about, but I'm just trying not to think about that really, because we'll have the chance to spend the week together and be in the sun and be by the beach. And we've both just had a time. I think a lot of people have during this pandemic. So I think it'll be really nice for us to just kind of be away and like kind of checked out and just doing our own thing. Which, side note, I've never actually been to a beach. As funny as that sounds, I know everyone's I feel like that's something everyone does. So everyone's just kind of like, what do you mean when I say I've never gone to a beach? But I mean just that. I guess for me it makes sense because I'm never one to choose warm destinations as like an ideal vacation spot. I don't like being warm. I don't know why. I think I'm the only person that doesn't like being warm. So the last time I was on a beach, if you will, was a black sand beach in Iceland. Which is very much the opposite of a warm or swimsuit type place. I was wearing like layers on layers, I think, when we were at that beach. So very much a different experience than going to Florida and being in the warmth and the sun. But I think it's exciting. I did, however, visit Florida a while back. I was only there for a few days and we had spent day 1 and 2 at Disney World, I believe. Because it's Disney World in Florida, I'm pretty sure, and then Disneyland in California. And then, yeah, so we spent day 1 and 2 at Disney World, and then the third final full day we had at Universal. So I didn't actually see Florida or anything. I just kind of spent the whole time in the parks. And I remember the last day when we were at the airport, I felt like the ground was almost like bouncing in a way, because we just spent like 72 hours, like those 3 days, just at amusement parks and just like nonstop kind of. So that was kind of funny. I had been on rides every day at that point for like 3 days straight. So it was just funny to like be standing on still ground. I hadn't noticed how much it took a toll on me, I guess, till we were at the airport. So this time now will be very different for me, I think. I've never gone to a beach and just like lounged. I think that'll be really relaxing and something I probably actually need. Funny enough, when I was on vacation before the pandemic hit, I was buying so many cute summer pieces and like different bathing suits or swimsuits. So it'll be like a nice way to finally get to wear those and like bust out the warm, cute summer clothes. I have a lot of clothing options and I wear like 13% of what I have, like at most. So I think this will be a nice way to kind of break out of that habit and wear something different. So, like I mentioned earlier, I have quite a bit of nerves prior to traveling now. Naturally, I feel like quite a few people do too, and I'm trying very hard to not let this shadow all the excitement that is to come with this vacation, because it's vacation, first of all. I need to be excited, and I am, so I gotta push that out a little bit, and it is very exciting, so like I just gotta embrace that. And also traveling with my friend, I'm just very excited about that. Her and I are very close. We've known each other for over 10 years now, I believe. And so it'll be really cool, I think, to kind of get to go and experience something different with her. And so I think in a way to like beat those nerves, I'm almost trying to visualize what it'll be like to be in the sun and by the water and palm trees and like just hear the waves. Like that's something I've never totally experienced, like a lot of people do regularly. So I'm looking forward to that. And funny enough, I have a palm tree tattoo and like I don't go to the beach a lot. They're my favorite trees, but anyways, okay, off topic. I also haven't worn a bathing suit in like over a year now, or I think even like 2 years, because this past summer I kind of like hung out with a friend by the lake. But funny enough, every time we went, it was like always cold. So her and I never got a chance to like put on our swimsuits and like be by the water. We were like always in like sweaters and like pants by the water with like blankets. Still super nice. Like I said, I love being cold. So like I was thriving. I was happy. But so that's going to be something very different for me at this point too. Amongst everything else, just not used to wearing bathing suits, but I have a bunch of them. So finally I'll get to wear those. So that'll be nice. One thing I've learned about myself lately is that I really, really love my comfort zone. I think going off those nerves, I love my comfort zone and almost a little bit too much. Believe me, that's possible. I've always been a homebody, so that's like a huge thing, I think, and also quite social at the same time. So I think between all the lockdowns, it's kind of taken away a bit of that interest in socialization and whatever else. And I could break this down so much more into that standpoint of how the world has changed, and people either have a very low level of patience and are, if anything, like less sympathetic towards one another and less caring, because like there is that whole shift in the world and it just feels cold and closed off. I do talk a little bit more about that in one of my previous episodes, so go check that out. But I just feel like seeing that without breaking it down super heavily, I feel a lot more understanding of the second side of just like kind of being more empathetic. I do feel a lot more sympathetic towards people, a lot more empathy towards people, and a lot more just general, I guess, not necessarily patience, because I can't be like, I'm the most patient person all the time. I'm definitely not. But I do think that I try to have a little bit more patience than I did before, seeing how the world has changed. So I feel like there can never be too much empathy and care and love, and that's a huge thing. So I feel like if I'm not the only one necessarily just doing that in the world, but I feel like if like a few people are doing that, that's such a big thing. It makes such a big difference. So I'm trying to like kind of go off of that. I think that's like a big change in the world from like traveling beforehand to now. I mean, the world has seen a lot, it's been through a lot, so it's just kind of nerve-wracking to also consider when traveling, and generally just leaving my comfort zone. Going off of that security felt from my comfort zone, there are so many things I could say. There's been so much happening in the world, kind of like I mentioned, that I don't even know if I could sit here and recap without missing something. And it's been heartbreaking and hard to see and hard to hear. And I just, like, I wish I could just say I hope everyone in the world is okay, but I know that's not going to fix everything. And so, although I'm trying to go on vacation, that's kind of always something that's playing in the back of my head. And maybe that's really bad to say, I don't know. But I think that's something that is hard to escape, and it shouldn't necessarily be overlooked. But funny enough, that is what makes my comfort zone so much more comforting. Obviously, it just feels safe. And I'm admitting things here that, one, I probably shouldn't. And two, a lot of people might be feeling, like generally just that fear, I guess, of what's going on in the world and how that may make you feel better about staying home and, you know, just feeling less pressure to go out or feeling less pressure to be in public settings because you might feel a little scared or uncomfortable. And I totally understand how that feels. It's tough. So anyways, I kind of went off on a tangent here, which is what happens pretty often, but I think to combat those negative feelings, I need to think of the things I'm excited and grateful for. So in any situation in life, if you take a moment to just recall what you're truly grateful for, the fears that you feel will more than likely minimize. And that doesn't mean they're just gonna like disappear, but they will lessen a little. And that's something that I really want to do. I'm so excited to be in a different setting for the first time in a while, and that too with my best friend. And I think we're going to have such a good time, and I can't wait to share that too. I'm sure we'll have some funny stories come out of it that I'd love to share on this podcast. So, if you feel like you could relate to something in this episode and want to share your thoughts, or maybe just chat generally, head over to Instagram. We have an account called @thetryingtimespodcast, and let's chat some more. If you even have anything you want to hear more about, and maybe from like my point of view, like a topic or a subject that you feel like is really big and important in your life, and you want to hear about it on the show, then feel free to share away. I would love to see what you think and hear what you think about the show and what you'd love to hear and all that good stuff. So yeah, this has been fun. Thank you for letting me rant, because this has actually been quite therapeutic for me. So thank you, friend, and also thank you for listening and being here. It really means a lot. And if you made it to the end of this episode, which I know you're kind of just like, what was the beginning, the middle, and the end? I don't know. It was just a big ramble fest, really. I just want to thank you personally, again, for listening and for your time. It really means so much, and I hope to hear from you soon. So if you're enjoying the show overall, be sure to give it a follow and like the episode, and we'll be back next week to chat some more, okay? So I'll talk to you then. Bye.